Welcome to Town Talk, the official podcast of Summerville, South Carolina, where we bring you the latest news and incredible guests here in Summerville. And today I'm joined by Officer LaFon, who is the program manager for the public safety drone program here for the town of Summerville. How you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to bring you aboard and talk about some drones and educate our public on the use of this technology, the growth of this technology, in the town of Summerville. But to start, I would love to get to know a little bit more about you, what got you into what you're doing today, and what led you to the Summerville Police Department.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm born and raised in Charleston. Been around the Summerville area about 22 years. I joined the police department about 9 years ago, had a brief stint here recently outside of the agency, and just came back in November. So,
nice.
Technology's always been a big thing for me. So I actually have some other hobbies where I fly drones for a semi-professional or professional environment. Mm-hmm. And so, it's just a very interesting field. The capabilities of the technology is pretty awesome. Yeah,
so a little background is the drone program for the town of Summerville as a whole was launched in late 2023. And really the goal of it was to basically be transparent with the technology that we're using on all facets for the town as a whole. I would say the public safety side of the drone program really didn't take off until you joined the team. But we really, it was a point we built a website where we provide transparency to our community using this technology, because what we found was folks were, in municipalities, counties, and other agencies were using this technology and just really not saying anything. They were just using the technology for their work. I and the rest of the team in 2023 was like, yeah, maybe we should just tell them what we're flying, where we're flying, and what we're flying for. I think that's fair.
Absolutely.
Keep all that data secured. If anyone requests anything, they know they can literally, and you could talk more about this, but they can literally ask for the video and be like, hey, we're respecting privacy. We're doing exactly what we need to do, as long as the video can be shared, obviously.
That's right, yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about when you came in, the program when you came in, and what you have done for the Summerville Police Department or public safety as a whole to where we're at today when it comes to the drone program.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when I came in, the public safety program had been established. A gentleman by the name of Mr. Anderson, Ian Anderson, who's still with the agency today, had done a great job structuring the program. It just needed additional resources, mm-hmm. right? So when I came in, I partnered with Officer Anderson, and we set out on an endeavor to grow this program aggressively. Mm-hmm. And just like you said, knowledge is power. Knowing what these things are capable of, knowing how we're using them, it's an incredible asset. And so people quickly saw the value, and it's just taken off. What we've accomplished in less than a year is just amazing, and it's credited to town council, it's credited to the chief and their ability to adapt and pivot on short notice. It's been a great support system, and just incredible to watch.
Absolutely. I think it really has grown with just established back end stuff when it comes to training and everything like that, but also use cases, the expanded of use cases, and we can talk more about that, but also the new drone. Yeah. Right? Do you want to talk a little bit about the drone we currently have in house?
Yeah, sure. So we have a few devices. The newest addition to our fleet is a DJI device. It's the Matrice 30 Thermal. And it's a standard across public safety. There's a couple of agencies that we partner with nearby that fly the same type of hardware.
Yep.
But the goal is to have multiple devices with the flexibility to fly in multiple different scenarios, right? And maybe we'll talk a little later about some of the use cases and how we're using them. But yeah, it's the new device is a beast. It has great camera. It's very agile.
It's one of the best out there when it comes to aerial drones.
Yeah.
for public safety. Now, can we dig in a little bit about the concerns?
Sure.
Obviously, DJI has been involved, and if you guys aren't familiar, involved in some discussions and banning of potentially the product of the brand being sold in America because it's a Chinese-based brand. Can you talk a little bit about that and where everything sits when it comes to, I would say, privacy, data privacy, especially with the drone we're using and everything on our end?
Yeah, absolutely. So DJI is a concern for sure for the federal government. There's a lot of question about where that data goes. And when I returned to the agency, to the PD, there was a hard pass on non-American made devices. The challenge that we run into is the market selections for American made drones with the capabilities that DJI has is very slim. And what is available is very high priced. Extremely high. So what we did is we worked with some of our other solution providers, and Motorola Solutions in the Cape product is what we selected. And that allows us to fly the DJI hardware, but we don't use any of their software. All of the software is designed by Motorola, right? That data that the application that controls the drone is all Motorola driven application
in America.
Made in America, right? Motorola back-end servers. So we're kind of limiting DJI's ability to see what we're doing by not using their applications.
Okay. So basically, in a nutshell, you taking the brains out of the drone and are using the body of the drone. And the capabilities of the drone.
Right.
But just the brains where the data's going, who's got the data and everything like that. So the DJI, and you can confirm their their back end stuff is not connected to that drone whatsoever.
So it's still on the controller, but we don't use it to fly. Right, the application is not open.
It's all in void.
That's right. It's not in use. And there's a lot you can read about DJI and what some independent auditors have done with the application and what kind of data it's leaking. It's hard to say how much, if anything, is being leaked using their application, but out of an abundance of caution. And again, with the Motorola Solutions, a solution that they were providing to us, there was no need to use that DJI application, so it was kind of not a non-issue for us.
Are we seeing success with the Motorola Solution, Cape, and how's that going?
Absolutely. Motorola Solutions Cape is awesome. And one of the reasons we selected that is it fits into an ecosystem that we're building in the public safety agencies that allow us to see location, share data, have update real-time CAD information. Now the drone is integrated into it, so we can see drone feeds and drone locations right there on our mapping solution.
That's amazing.
Just like we see everything else, right? So working towards that command center, single pane of glass kind of solution. Yeah,
so it's really cool. I mean, I'm asking. For our community, I've been pretty involved in the drone program from the start. The official program was my idea in 23. Has nothing to do with my role as a public information officer. I was just flying for hobby and for some extra money before I joined Somerville. And so I was like, there's a good use case for this here.
Absolutely.
And we really need to expand it. And so I'm asking these questions. I kind of know where he's going with them. But because usually when we do the podcast and just background, I'm asking at the same time the community's getting to learn something. So I'm like, this is a little different for me because I kind of know it. we talk all the time. But I think this is interesting for them to understand the back end stuff.
Sure.
Speaking of back end stuff, I brought it up a little bit, was the video, everything like that. A big concern we've always heard, and not just us, every municipality, county, or anyone who uses this technology, is my privacy. Are you looking in my backyard is always the number one thing I'm always hearing from community members or outside sources, right? Is, are you looking in my window or anything like that? Can you talk a little bit about that concern and what we do to address that?
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, it's a concern of mine as well, too, right?
Yeah, honestly.
Privacy is definitely high. So what I'll say is knowledge is power here, right? So understanding the program, understanding what our intentions are, what our capabilities are. The police department and public safety in general is 100% on board with privacy, supporting people's privacy, no invasion of privacy, right? We're transparent as we can be. You touched earlier about the CAPE solution and the transparency website. So every flight that we do that is not deemed a sensitive flight is posted on a website where you can actually see the flight data, the telemetry data, where the aircraft went, how long it flew, where the video or the camera was pointed, as well as you can FOIA the video that was shot by the drone. So our policies are designed in such a way where we record everything. So there is a recording of the video. It's also stored in the cloud with the telemetry data, right? And our chief is very transparent about what we're doing with this. We're not hiding anything, right? We want folks to know this is the capabilities it brings to us, and this is why we're up here.
Yeah.
Right? It's an awesome tool for our agency. So.
It really is. And I think when it comes to transparency, and I don't mean to say this with bias, but I think we're leading the way when it comes to this use of this technology, aerial drones. I think we're leading the way when it comes to transparency versus others. And not to go versus anyone, but I am really proud of what we are doing when it comes to that, right?
Yeah.
Everything, I mean, the video is foilable. So if you're looking at the online track and you see it goes over your workplace or your residence or anything like that, and you really are concerned, I challenge you, if you really are concerned, go look, FOIA the video. And this is a challenge if anyone's really concerned. FOIA the video, you'll get the video, you'll see that whoever is flying with an expectation of privacy, with the camera pointed at the horizon.
That's right.
And if not, it's on whatever it needs to be viewing, right? That said, all our pilots, and I want you to deep dive into this, are FAA certified. They go through the classes, the training, the test, which isn't easy, first and foremost, but there's ongoing training as well. And so we are also following federal laws and guidelines when using this technology. You want to jump into that a little bit more?
Yeah, 100%. Sure. So there's a lot of regulation that goes around how we fly in public safety. There's a couple of different rule sets we can fly under. Generally speaking, we fly under the commercial rules, the FAA Part 107, which requires our pilots to be certified by the FAA. It requires us to have certain documentation on the aircraft. The aircraft have to be insured, right? And we build on that with department policy that says not only do you have to have these minimums, but you also have to pass our proficiency. You have to know our policies and procedures, right? Because we want to protect people's privacy. We don't want people from our agency filming their neighbor's backyard for no reason, right? So there's certain configurations that we fly in when we fly over people's houses to minimize the amount that we record in neighborhoods and things like that. So, and we do continual training, right? We're trying to grow that program where we include outside agencies, but the pilots are constantly challenged to stay proficient on their skills and keep current with the hardware and the rules that are changing almost daily at this point, right?
Absolutely. And so that it says a lot, right? The training that goes in the back end, and probably the enhance of training in the future too.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like, knowing you, it's gonna expand.
Yeah.
Which is good. We want the pilots to be as trained as possible because, again, this is a little bit about the drones. They really are. They're filled with these sensors. I mean, it's almost impossible to crash.
Yeah.
To be really honest with you, with the amount of sensors and everything like that. Like you either have to turn it off, the sensors, or like, I don't know, fly in a hurricane.
Or get hit by another drone or
get
something.
hit by another drone or something like that to really crash this thing. But that said, it's not impossible.
That's right.
And you just, knowing how to handle a drone with care, reading the sky, understanding what's next to you, being aware, having a visual line observer, is also extremely important as well. Talking about the use cases of these drones, can you dig into some of the stuff we have used it for that you can talk about?
Sure.
And yeah, start there, because I have another question after that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so again, these things are super flexible, right? Anything you can dream of just about is what we use it for. Some of the key things that come to mind is manhunts, search for missing people, search for missing dogs, lost, endangered elderly people or children. We fly crime scenes, take aerial photos of crime scenes, tactical missions where you need a second set of eyes, or maybe a set of eyes at a higher level than ground level that's more difficult to get from somebody on the ground. We fly indoors, so if you have situations where it might be too risky to put in a person, we can put a robot in there, or we can put a drone in there, right? That
not
will
put someone in
not
harm's
put
way.
somebody in harm's way, and do kind of a pre-clearing of the facility or the space before you actually put somebody in there. So traffic patterns, we can watch traffic patterns. So I think one of the first big oh wow moments with the drone program once we got this new device was Flowertown.
Yeah,
right?
talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Flowertown is a great event we have, right? Large number of people,
amazing.
Big area.
Shout out to the YMCA for putting that on.
Yeah, absolutely. Great event every year. So if you've never checked out the Flowertown Festival, you should for
You
sure.
got to.
But from a public safety perspective, there's a lot of ingress and egress points that need to be controlled, right? There's a lot of checkpoints. There's a lot of security that goes into that, and a lot of it on the back end that people don't even know that's happening, right? So when you are a perimeter person and you're responsible for watching all these checkpoints and double checking that everything's going well, maybe that took us 20 minutes. And I'm just making up numbers, right? It's hard to gauge time when you're in the middle of it, right? And let's say it took 20 minutes to make the full loop around. We can now do that with a drone, aerially check all those checkpoints in 30 or 45 seconds.
Compare the timing.
And it was such a oh wow moment that our traffic supervisor during Flowertown looked at me and said, why haven't we done this every year, right? Like, he almost immediately, he could see the entire perimeter versus one or two people having to patrol that manually and deal with traffic and all the events. So savings of manpower, much quicker information gathering. I mean, just hands down, it was. Not to mention, we responded to all kinds of calls during that event. I think we published that, right? So
we did publish that. Yes,
some medical events and some lost children. And huge benefit.
If there's a report of someone pulling handles on the cars that are parked throughout the town. It's very hard for an officer to get over there and not find that whoever is pulling handles or goes in the car quick enough in a very packed situation like that, right?
Yeah.
But when you have stuff like this and there's a report from a citizen saying, hey, I just saw someone pulling on these handles over here, most likely we're going to be able to spot that person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who was pulling on handles or maybe stole something from your car. Yeah, please lock your cars.
Yeah,
by the
100%.
way,
please lock your cars and don't leave your valuables in plain sight.
It's very common. It's
so
very common.
Many
please
car break-ins.
Yes, please lock your cars. That's a side note. I
don't want to pass on the Flowertown though. I want to give a shout out to the Dorchester County Sheriff's Office too, because the event was such a large request for the drone program. We couldn't fulfill it with our agency only, right? So we called in one of our partner agencies, Dorchester County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Sam Richardson and their Lieutenant Frank Thompson.
They have their own program.
They have their own program, and their program leader is Lieutenant Frank Thompson, and he was great. They showed up. They brought their devices.
Thank you, guys.
They helped fill out a lot of those requests. So it's definitely a joint effort, right?
I mean, and it might be for a while being a team with our partnering agencies. Hopefully, we can grow to a point where we don't have to call all the time, especially for big events. But who knows, right? Yeah. I'm sure you'll go and help them out too the same time. And you do, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's the beauty of partnerships with local agencies, right? They might not, we are in Dorchester County.
Sure.
But, I'm sure you would call and help out a county we're not in. Well, we're in all three.
We're in all three, so
I guess
we
but
can
maybe
help any of them.
another municipality. Let's put it that way,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
And so, speaking my second question, which kind of coincides, is like the use cases, is the cost of everything and how it weighs out, right? Because the drones are not cheap. Okay, be straightforward. They're not cheap. The program is not the cheapest program in the world either.
Sure.
But when you look at the cost of just calling a helicopter once, something a drone can do, you realize, or the time of 45 seconds, first 20 minutes, or a person's life in danger versus not putting someone's body in harm's way.
For sure.
Let's think about this for a second, right? So can you you probably don't have the math on you. We've done this before. I've done it myself.
Yeah.
But can you talk a little bit about how that cost kind of equals out?
Sure.
If not, saves us, in my opinion, saves us a ton of money.
Yeah, so the thing to remember here, though, is this is a tool, right? This doesn't replace any one thing we have. It supplements our, it's another tool on our tool belt, right? So we will never stop calling helicopters.
Yeah.
We will never stop putting boots on the ground, right?
Yeah.
What this does do, though, is it allows us to manage our resources better, right? So maybe I don't need to send a guy to check out a car that's blocking an intersection if I can go scope it out with a drone. Now he can field something else, right? So maybe we don't need as many boots on the ground. Or maybe we don't need that helicopter at $600 an hour or whatever it costs to fly to search for a missing dog if we can do it with a drone, right?
And if you go up in a minute or 10 minutes, you're able to find that.
Right. That's a valid point too, right? Our drones are right here with our people. They can be launched almost immediately. What kind of time? We don't have a helicopter, right? So we rely on neighboring agencies for a helicopter. What kind of time does that take? Sometimes it's 5 or 10 minutes. Sometimes it's a half an hour.
It could take time.
Yeah, it can take a while. You
got to get in the helicopter. You got to fly over.
Yeah.
It takes time where you put a drone up in 30 seconds, if that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it just depends on your location, right?
Yeah.
And whether you got to do airspace. But yeah, it can happen fast. It even surprises our folks sometimes, like, wow, that was fast.
Yeah.
But the money savings, it's not cheap. It's nowhere near the cost of another officer, right? The latest device we bought, I think, was $13,000 for the drone. And the continual cost of the program is not super high at all. Whatever the cost of the service is, and
I don't think so.
Most of the pilots that are flying right now are supplementing. It's a secondary role for them. So, but the cost that it saves us, it's a force multiplier for sure, and we've seen that several times in the past year where it has saved us a lot of manpower, or even supplemented.
It's saving a lot of our constituents' money, the taxpayers' money.
Absolutely. And partner with other agencies is doing that too, right? So we don't need as many devices.
Yep.
Because we can help leverage some of their resources, and they have the same benefit, right?
Yep.
They don't need to buy as many because they can help leverage us when we're idle. So that's the goal, right? Use the hardware efficiently as much as we can.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to emphasize that because I remember when we started this in 23, there's conversations about that, right? Like, you're spending all this money.
Yeah.
And I try to explain to people, I think people are understanding how much this is saving, but also we're not putting the men and women who are working, on the streets, protecting us, their body in harm's way.
Yeah.
We can really avoid that. And there's no price you can put to someone's life.
Yeah, 100%.
And so it's incredible. It's incredible, and we've already seen it. I mean, I know there's things we can't discuss, right? And I know you can't discuss that the drone has been involved in, but just trust me when I say, like, it has been very useful.
So this is one of the reasons why transparency is so important to our chief, right? And I know everybody. It's hard to really tell you what this thing's capable of and what its benefits are, but when I show people, So when we did that thing at Ashley River Park just recently, the Hurricane Expo.
Yeah, Dorchester County. Shout out Dorchester County. That was a great event.
Yeah, so that we do a demo there, and the people that were watching it were just in awe, like, wow. Right? So we were showing them live video, but we were also showing them some of our previous missions, some of the recorded video that we had, and it's really an eye opener when you look at it. Like, people are like, I never even thought about using a drone like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's been impressive, especially since you joined the team. Speaking of kind of where we're at now in the future, what does the future look like for the drone program? What's your goals? What are we looking at? What can people expect?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Chief, right, I'm very fortunate in having the command staff at the PD that we have and the fire department command staff. They're all super supportive. Chief Wright has a very aggressive plan to be the leading drone program in the state.
Yeah, he does.
And I think we're going to achieve that.
Yeah.
More devices coming, more pilots coming. We need to grow the program. We have a very aggressive program going on right now to get officers trained as what we call visual observers. So those guys are the support folks for the flights, for the missions that are going on. So they handle, all the accessories, all the everything that's not flying the drone, right? So that the pilot's not distracted. Really, security is the big thing, right?
Yeah.
So these guys are right here on the front lines, and I'm focused on something in the air. I need that visual observer to make sure nobody walks up behind me, right?
Exactly.
So,
because everyone, the reason I wear it when I fly, I don't fly as much anymore, but when I fly, I wear this big bright vest that says certified pilot. I have my ID and everything on it. I try to do that so people don't come try to talk to me while I'm flying, because I'm handling hardware.
Yeah.
But people are always interested.
They're very interested,
and
for sure.
I love it. And so basically what I do, and this is kind of just a conversation thing, but what I do is always tell people, listen, I'd love to chat with you about this. Let me finish what I'm doing. Let me get the drone on the ground, then we can chat.
Yeah.
Is usually how I handle it, because every time I go up, I always have someone come up and ask. Whether they're concerned.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Why are you here?
Why are you here? Why are you filming me?
Yeah.
Or they're just genuinely interested.
Right.
And both I want to discuss and have a conversation with. If someone's concerned, I want to hear why they're concerned, but also address and comfort them a little bit, understanding, hey, I'm here for yada, yada, yada. If you have any concerns, we're happy to provide, anything you need, right? And have a conversation. Usually, I'd say, after having a conversation for me, I've never had someone take it to, FOIA or something or anything like that, because I feel like we're able to have a good conversation. They kind of understand.
Yeah,
100%.
100%.
So now, when we talked about the drone program, one thing I know you're looking at is a drone as first responder.
Yeah.
It's something that is a potential goal for the town, or for the police department. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So the next step in the program, so let's back up a little bit, right? We'll talk about how we're using it today, right? So all of our flights today are a person in a vehicle that has a drone that's responding or is on scene that decides, hey, we need an aerial asset, and they launch the device that they have, right? So it requires one body being on scene that is a pilot and a support person that comes out of that staff. The next step in this program, and a lot of this right now is still working through the FAA, right? The regulation on drone as a first responder.
Which is a lot.
Right. But the next step in this program is the device actually launches from somewhere, a predetermined location, and they respond to calls just like any other asset that we would send to a call for service, right? And it's flown remotely and then either handed off to a person that's locally on scene that can take over the flight, or the remote pilot does his size up, and then once the ground resources get there, the drone returns back to its base. Yeah. So it's fly-by-wire kind of thing, but it gives us a lot more flexibility, because now you can cover 4 or 5 square miles of our town dirt, right, from one guy sitting at the station flying by wire.
Yeah, and the safety of that, Because I think some people who might be listening or watching might be concerned with the safety of that.
Yeah.
Compared to like someone who's right under a drone with a remote.
Yeah.
How does it compare?
Yeah. So that's a very interesting question, right? And this is part of what's still going through the FAA. Their FAA is very safe. Obviously, there's a lot of safety precautions for manned aircraft. That's the last thing we want to interfere with.
A lot of loops
right?
you have to go through for a lot of different things.
Right.
Yep.
So a lot of regulation, a lot of pre-planning. But essentially what it ends up being is you have to have some type of avoidance, detection and avoidance in place. And whether that's people or radar or something that gives you remote visibility into that airspace, right? And then you already have your pre-mapped areas with the FAA as part of your DFR paperwork.
Yeah.
That says, hey, this is the area I'm flying. This is the heights I'll fly. This is the routes. If I have static routes, I'll fly. So there's a lot. It's pre-planned as much as possible, but and then it's supplemented with visual observers. And I'm not sure that's going to be required if you have radar, but that's something the town's going to do. That's why we're training so many visual observers, because again, the last thing we want to do is crash into another manned aircraft that we didn't know was there, or something like that. Right. So having that boots on the ground, that observer there, or remote pilot there on the ground is invaluable.
Yep.
Right? So
and that's a lot of training in that too. So I think what you're doing and what y'all are doing is above and beyond just like starting from scratch. I think you guys are putting a lot of effort in the back end, in the planning, the research. That is going to be extremely beneficial when things. Now the DFR, our drone as first responder, is still a far off thing, right? But we're working towards it.
Yeah, so it's we have a roadmap for it. We have a pretty aggressive goal to get there. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Right. So right now it's there's some FAA paperwork that we're going through, and money. Right, the money to get the hardware to do it is really the big thing. Right. Mm-hmm. Do we get the budget this year? Because it is a different device. It's a completely different platform.
And time will tell, right? And we'll see where we get there. But I think we also need to be very proud of where we're at. Today.
100%. Amazing how far we've made it in
a year.
A few months. Yeah,
in a few months.
Not even a year, right? I think November will be a year. So
not even a year.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how far we've come since 23.
Yeah.
And it's really impressive, and kudos to you and everything you do for our citizens and our community, for the town and your team, and for leading the charge over there at public safety. I mean, the drone program does go into a ton of different departments. Public safety is going to be the most prominent use case for it, but our GIS uses drones to scan tree canopies, and there's a lot of crazy stuff a GIS coordinator can do with a drone to really help with the planning and everything. I guess a GIS coordinator will do.
Yeah, 100%.
But from my standpoint, more like marketing, let's take some photos. Mine's pretty easy, but there's so many use cases. Building inspection.
Yeah,
instead of putting someone on a ladder, let's put a drone up there to check something real quick, right?
So that last hurricane that came through, the EOC storm response, there was a ton of
damage assessment,
roads assessment, flooding assessment. It was
again, not putting someone's body in harm's way,
not putting a body and other assets, right? Not vehicles or anything.
Those vehicles are a lot more expensive than a drone.
Yeah.
Okay, so
100%. So
think about it, right? But also just like the progression, potentially the fire department using a drone. That's something that we've been discussing. I know they're interested in exploring that option as well, because these drones can really dictate, if used correctly, where the fire is at.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How hot the fire is, where kind of you probably should avoid. There's a ton of different stuff that if you have a drone in the air scanning a building on fire, or like there's just so many use cases for it.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you get there early enough, the images that you get from a structure fire with the drone can be invaluable to a fire investigator. What that structure looked like early on, right?
Yeah, what started it?
Yeah, so
there's so much to it.
So much, yeah.
That said, is there anything else for the sake of the drone program you want to discuss?
Yeah, I would just say, again, highlight and transparency is key, right? Not only
that's why we're doing this.
Right. So not only are we not trying to hide stuff, but we want people to understand what we're doing and why we're doing it, because that does nothing but help our program. And you're talking about people walking up on you. They're genuinely interested. 90% of them.
I love it. Even if someone's concerned, I love it.
Yeah,
I love this is an opportunity to talk. Let me just get the hardware down real quick. But once let's have a conversation,
Yeah, so that's probably the one big thing I would like to highlight, right? If you do see drone pilots out, it's great. We love to interact with people. Try and wait till we're landing, though, right? Trying to interact with a drone pilot who's actively flying introduces some unnecessary risk into that flight that's going on.
And the pilots are trained to kind of like, hey, we'll talk to you.
Yeah, sure. So we get training on how to deal with that. But also, I don't know why you're coming up to me, right? Or who you are, what your intention is. So it draws a lot more attention than you would think off of what I'm currently doing.
And usually a visual observer could also handle that as well.
So our policy says we have to have a visual observer, and that's the reason why, right? Number one is safety. It's the safety of the people around us, but as well as our personnel safety. So
absolutely.
So the visual observer is going to intercept you. Please don't take offense to it if he says not now. We'll talk to you in a minute. We do want to talk to you.
They will talk to you.
We just got to finish what we're doing first. So
speaking, I guess my last point is, if anyone who's listening or watching has any further questions, are you happy for them to reach out to
100%,
you and have a conversation and send you a message, email saying, hey, I'm concerned about this, or I'm excited about this, or what's your thoughts on this? What's your, or talk a little bit more about the drone. I know you do a ton of events now, showcasing the drone. Please keep that up. I love that. I know our community loves that. So if there's a lot of events, they are placed up. But reach out to Officer LaFon, or you can reach out to me, and I can direct it, or maybe I can answer it. I am not as involved with the public safety side of it as I once was. More stuck at the town hall side now, which is fine.
We can change that.
Well, listen, no, but I'm very proud of everything you've done. Kudos to you. Great work. I'm just genuinely excited to see what the next year looks like too.
Yeah, me too. And thanks for that. But it's not me. There's a whole team behind this, right?
Yeah.
I'm the face of it right now, but Ian did a lot of great work laying the groundwork. You had a lot of great structure in place, right? So I just jumped on the program and tried to keep the momentum. Tried to keep the momentum going is what I'll say, right? But,
exactly.
It's a great opportunity for me. I'm proud to be a part of this team. It's a real honor.
I love that. Last question: your favorite food spot, or top 3 favorite food spots in Somerville?
Woo! So Puma's came to mind first.
Oh, that was quick. Puma's was quick.
Hall's Chop House is a good one, right?
All right, he loves a good steak.
Man, who doesn't love a good steak, right? Let's see, who's third? Maybe Kickin' Chicken. Kickin' Chicken is a good one.
Okay,
man.
All right. So we got Puma's, Hall's, and Kickin' Chicken.
Oh, Groucho's. We eat at Groucho's a lot too. Listen, and there's a lot of good eating here, man.
Listen, I ask that question a lot.
Yeah.
I moved away from it in this past season, but I might bring it back.
That's a good question. I wasn't prepared for that too, so that was good.
I mean, we were talking about drones for the last like 45 minutes, but just food.
That's right. Yeah.
But Officer LaFon, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks
if you guys see him around, see him flying, he'll land and talk to you.
That's right.
For sure. If you have any questions, I will provide his email if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
And ask him questions, reach out. Or say you are a school or someone who leads a school or something and wants a demonstration. I think that's something you're interested in doing for community members too, right?
Yeah.
So reach out. And until next time, thank you guys so much.
Thanks for having me.